Do you agree with the number of suspensions of the games for both Harper and Strickland?
Yeah, I think it's a little light for Strickland when it comes down to it, because obviously he wanted to induce all of this, which really comes down to it. And you think about it from a reliever with the suspension, they can appeal, as you said. Everyone's going to appeal their situation. But now, if you're Bruce Bochy, you can pitch him right before the suspension when he takes it. So it's a little different from the relievers aspect, and obviously Bryce Harper is going to miss at-bats, also games. So I'm a little bit surprised that it's not as long for Strickland.
Yeah, I mean, again, what is the intent of the suspensions? Are you trying to take money away from the player? Are you trying to hurt the club? Are you trying to send a message? Because quite frankly, as a player, it's like, okay, great, I got suspended, right? So it's not going to impact anybody.
I think you're trying to keep guys from throwing at people.
Well, that's not going to change. Like that, that has nothing to do with it. So how do you do that? Well, you know, Bryce Harper has somebody throw at Posey. Posey then goes to Strickland. You can't be throwing at guys. I mean, this is the way that things used to be taken care of. And there's a reason why we have more beanballs or hit batters now than we did, say, 20, 30 years ago. I mean, I think the policing itself, I know that that's not politically correct, and everybody has a heart attack about it, especially if you didn't play. It's like, oh, my goodness, you can't do that. You have to. The suspension, I mean, 6 games for Strickland. Do you think he really cares? It's going to get appealed. It'll be down to 5 or 4. I mean,
I think guys sometimes your unwritten rules. They're unwritten for a reason. They're not rules, and so you move them and adjust them when it's convenient and when it fits a certain code. But I did want to get your reaction on some people questioning Posey, why he didn't react from last night. And you have more on that story. You actually talked to somebody in the Giant organization.
Yeah, being in that organization before, I was afforded to talk to somebody in that organization that had some understanding of what went on, and basically they were surprised at Strickland's act. Well, when Strickland comes in, most relievers, they have a communication with the catcher, and basically what was told to me that Buster Posey was told that, listen, if I hit him, just let him go. And I just think it's a weird scenario when it comes down to it, because you don't see catchers do that. I still think he could have handled it differently. And I also think, from being the captain of the club, you have some power when it comes to that situation. So when Buster Posey is addressed to that by Strickland, obviously that was a situation, a 2-0 game, and I think Strickland took it in his own hands. I don't agree with that.
Eric, you're shaking your head on that. If that's accurate, and we're not saying what your report is not, but that seems very unusual, right?
So hypothetically, again, if the pitcher tells me, hey, Kay, you know, I'm gonna drill this guy, so just a heads up.
You would say?
Well, I'm saying, look, I don't know if that's a good idea, and I wouldn't do that, because if I'm Buster Posey, he's the one that's going to get drilled. So just from a selfish standpoint, I'm saying to Strickland, you ain't doing it now, and I don't want to get hit. So you're going to have to settle that on your own time or your own way. The other thing, too, if Strickland, you know, had to get Harper, look, you've waited 3 years. Why are you going to do it the very first time you face him? You know that, you know, if you're trying to go under the radar. Obviously Hunter Strickland didn't care about going under the radar. He did not care. He wanted Harper to come out. That was just that was an individual thing. That wasn't a team edict. That wasn't anything.
And it hurt the team.
But, I mean, what? So San Francisco's going to only finish 15 games out this year? I mean, what, you know?
They're trying to turn their season around, or at least get going in the right direction.
Have you checked out the division they're in, Chris?
There's a new team in first place in the National League West. We're not even in June. I know you don't like the Giants from your Dodger Blue days.
There's nothing to do with that.
But I think some people are going to judge Posey no matter what comes out of this story.
They are going to be judged, and I think the situation here is Hunter Strickland's in his hands. I think what has to happen after the suspension, after the appeals, he's going to have to address that. He's going to have to say, listen, after everything's done, I'll take my games. But listen, I told Buster Posey to do this. If that is correct, that has to happen, because I think Buster Posey's taken a beating, and as well he should, because of the reaction of what he had. He still could have done it, even though Bryce Harper could have got around him. He still could have handled that situation, in my opinion, the different way.
But don't you think, being in that clubhouse, so Strickland, if in fact he said, I'm gonna drill Harper and just let him come out. Again, from the outside looking in, oh, that's terrible. But within that clubhouse, right or wrong, you know there's some, all right, you know what, I don't want to say it's impressive, but all right, there's a little bit of, I don't want to say that, you know, Strickland creates a little bit of an image in that clubhouse. Okay, all right. There's something to be said about that. I know from the outside.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me that there's not. You don't go as a teammate. You go, hey, all right.
Yeah, I don't think Bruce Bochy liked it.
It's how they
But that's
respond
how it
now,
is.
moving forward.
That's
It's how this team responds moving forward.